You are listening to a True North Eager Beaver media podcast. The True North Eager Beaver podcasts are proudly brought to you by our founding sponsors, the Miss V Mysteries from Corvid Moon Publishing, your source for science fiction, fantasy, and cozy mysteries featuring a broad diversity of characters. CanadianTarot.com, your uniquely Canadian online eclectic tarot community and forum, and The Peppermaster, hot pepper sauces made from fresh farm ingredients to thrill your taste buds and expand your mind.
Whoa, what happened? I was dancing a little too hard in my chair there.
So, seeing your hair's a little askew.
Ooh, there with the hair. All right. Well, good morning and hello, kids, and welcome to season 3 and episode number 121 of the Daily Beaver here on the Crier Media Network. Today, recording day is Wednesday, May 17th, and it's a very special day here at the Beaver Lodge. You know why?
Why?
It's my Beaver sweetie's birthday.
Oh, right.
Yeah. So, yeah. La mulțandră gulțul meu. Can't wait to celebrate. That was in Romania. That was in Romania.
I figured as much.
Happy birthday, my love. Happy birthday, my love.
Hey, happy birthday, Alex.
Yeah. All right. And it's a wonderful spring day here at the Beaver Lodge. The little birdies that were in the nest are born because we saw Mama and Daddy bring some worms and food. And so they're chirping away.
I'm sure
night,
they're freezing this morning, though. Holy crap.
The thing, eh? Last night I went out and it was pretty darn cool. And I saw, I'm not sure for robins if it's the mama bird or the papa bird that lays on the eggs. Because for some birds, it's the male. But it's like I almost wanted, if I knew that the bird wouldn't fly away, I almost wanted a teeny little blanket, and just there you go, mama or papa, there you go. Just because it was chilly.
Mm-hmm.
It was chilly yesterday. So yeah, and the lilacs are in bloom and everything, and there's the first bud on the peonies, and it's just.
You said peonies.
Yes.
I always pronounce it peony.
Oh, peony?
That's how I pronounce it. I don't. I think I'm wrong. That's the way it looks when I read it. Well, you said the plural version, right? So I'm like peony, because peony. Otherwise it sounds like penis, and I just.
Okay, there you go. We're starting early.
Kind of like a pianist. Are you a pianist? What? Yes, I'm a pianist. She's a great pianist. It sounds bad, but it's not bad. It's true. It's just complicated. And, the 15-year-old boy in all males, goes there every single time. Just can't help it. Can't help it.
Yes, is Saucy going, penis? Where? Oh, down there. Anyway, the flowers are out at the Beaver Lodge. I'm your host, Eager Beaver. Pronouns he, him. Hey, Mr. Beaver, eh? And to all the people out there who have been, making those little comments. Oh, pronouns. So I guess that means we can discount everything he has to say.
Oh, what? When did you hear that?
Oh, that just happens. You get a comment, and it's like, and then you write something, and somebody responds, "Oh, yeah, dude's got pronouns." Okay, so yeah, I got pronouns, so that means everything that comes out of my mouth is stupid, right?
Well, I tend to find those individuals have major SDE usually, and if you're threatened by my pronouns by a cis het white male with pronouns, if that's a threat to you, that says so much about you. So much about you.
Wait until you see my use of apostrophe S when I denote possessives.
Talk dirty grammar to me.
That'll send you into a corner in the fetal position, darling.
Well,
don't worry, I make a mean cheesecake. I'll send you some to eat while you're there. All right. Of course, a big thank you goes to our podcast founding sponsors, the Pepper Master, the Miss V Mysteries from Corvid Moon Publishing, and CanadianTarot.com. Thank you so much for your constant and stalwart support. We have a nibble for you this morning. But first, let's say hello to you, Mr. Grizzly, and ask how your mental health is today.
Good morning, Mr. Beaver. You know my mental health is great today. Stop that. It's great. We'll leave it at that. We had a couple seconds there while we were ironing out some technical issues to have a bit of a chat. So that's why he's got that little grin on.
Good morning, good morning. It's great to stay up late. Good morning to you.
I was actually in bed at 9:30 last night.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, yes. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, that makes sense. You had a hard day.
Yeah, that's why I feel so great today. Good night's sleep.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm
not grumpy this morning. No.
I will not. I am a gentleman. However, when we're talking about
home runs,
yeah. Well, more like hitting home runs, but at the wrong stuff.
Are you talking about the UCP member?
Oh man.
Comparing human beings to fecal matter? Is that what you're talking about? Because I've got the clips.
Oh, there's that too. Oh no, I missed that one. Please.
Oh,
go
here.
ahead.
I'll start with this. Lacombe Panonka candidate Jennifer Johnson was speaking at a forum last September about the public school system versus homeschooling. In the recording, Johnson can be heard saying Alberta's high test scores don't matter because some students are transgender. It does not matter that we're in the top 3% of the world. Who cares if they got 89% in chemistry 30? Who cares they're entering post-secondary if they're chemically castrated, she said in the recording. Johnson went on to compare a handful of... hang on, I got to move that graphic so I can see.
Oh, yes.
I can't see. There we go. Johnson went on to compare a handful of transgender students in the school system to mixing a teaspoon of feces into a batch of baked goods.
What?
Showing an individual. Enjoy the cookies. I only put a teaspoon of poop in them, but it doesn't matter because it's only a teaspoon in the whole batch, she is heard saying. Same idea. We can be top 3%, but that little bit of poop is what wrecks it. Anna Murphy, a transgender advocate in Calgary, took aim at Johnson for comparing a marginalized group to a contaminant. For any person with privilege within our community to otherwise call for the removal of individuals from our society or the segregation of equity-deserving groups, that is dangerous, Murphy said. To make comments that dehumanize and otherwise equate anyone to any kind of undesirable attribute, such as what that comment does, is a disgusting demonstration of that person's character. Not to mention the fact that the UPC stated that they vetted all their candidates. This is who they are, stochastic terrorists. Disgusting.
Yeah. Stochastic terrorism is the public demonization of a person or group resulting in the incitement of a violent act which is statistically probable but whose specifics cannot be predicted. The word stochastic in everyday language means random. So here we go. Here's the idea behind stochastic terrorism. A leader or organization uses rhetoric in the mass media against a group of people. This rhetoric, while hostile or hateful, doesn't explicitly tell someone to carry out an act of violence against that group, but a person feeling threatened is motivated to do so as a result. That individual act of political violence can't be predicted as such, but that violence will happen is much more probable thanks to the rhetoric. This rhetoric is thus called stochastic terrorism because of the way it incites random violence, such as one day saying that the prime minister is trying to erase history, then control history in order to reshape people, and then has a government that's deliberately setting fires.
Yeah. That's
because
stochastic
if you
terrorism.
truly feel that you have a government that's literally trying to kill you, now today he's flooding the streets with drugs again.
Oh, yeah.
But the tweet literally said the prime minister's killing Canadians.
Yeah.
Literally now. This time,
Well,
they're just outright saying it. Now they're not just suggesting.
No, they're saying
he's doing something
out.
that is killing. They're outright saying the prime minister's killing Canadians.
Like this is who they are. This is who they are.
But
look, they call themselves the UCP or the Conservative Party of Canada. They're right-wing, evangelical, Christo-fascists. And if they tell you they're Christian, they're the furthest fucking thing from it. Oh, comparing students who are struggling with their gender identity to fecal matter. Fuck you, bitch.
Yeah.
You know, I don't like to call a woman that word, but come on. Right. No, I'm not going to stand idly by for that. That is, look, the opponents were very polite. I will not be polite.
You know what this is, though, right? This is a variation on the one Skittle.
Yep.
Or the just one drop.
Yep. It's exactly what it is.
There you go, Mr. Grizzly, if you would. Literally saying it.
Mm-hmm.
Pierre Poilievre, 12 hours ago. The Trudeau government is killing people by giving out free drugs to addicts. He's literally saying the government's killing people. No, that's not what it's doing. He's keeping people alive long enough by providing a supply that is not laced with fentanyl or benzodiazepines. Again, the objective, right? He's sitting there, like Danielle is sitting there, right? We're just going to take people and we're going to just put them into treatment. First of all, you have to build all the treatment. Second of all, Skippy's plan depends on him first winning a court case against multinational drug companies that can be dragged up before he helps anyone. So first of all, he's got to win a case to fund it. That'll take years. And then he either wants to take people in and force them in, which, okay, you'll get them clean for a few days. And then the second you release them, they go back at it again. Many addicts have said this. Right? So you can't, you're actually advocating kidnapping and confinement against people's will while talking about freedom because they're addicts and nobody will stand up for them. So we're starting, right? Again, the probing to see which group of people that nobody will stand up for: addicts, transgender, homeless suffering from mental health issues, right? The bail thing. It's like, a lot of Pierre going around saying, well, we'll put them away if they're violent offenders like this and make sure they never get out until the whole trial is over. In theory, yes, but innocent to proven guilty. What if, right? What if? Because the whole justice system is based on, right, you'd rather let one man guilty man go than, for example, for the death penalty, kill an innocent man. So you weigh the justice system on that side. What if someone is not guilty and time served before sentencing is usually credited 2-1, and let's say they're not guilty and the time that they've served before their whole trial is over is longer than any sentence they would have had. Now we're compensating people. Now there are lawsuits. Now we're legally compensating people. We're in Maharar territory again. These policies are not well thought out, but to the people that are out there, it's like, yeah, lock them up. If they don't want to get treatment, force them into treatment. It's like they're a danger to themselves.
That's right? How they regard. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
But we are allowed to make decisions that are harmful to ourselves. We are constitutionally allowed.
What happened to this? Aren't they the folks that are all about my body, my choice?
Yeah.
Except, of course, when it comes to a woman making a choice about a medical health,
some of us eat too much, some of us drink too much, some of us work too much, some of us exercise too much, some of us are addicted to drama, some of us have too much unprotected sex. We all do
have
things.
Our vice.
We all do things. We've all picked our poisons. We're just singling out people, certain people, for special treatment because, well, we don't approve of their poison.
That's what it boils down to.
So, yeah. So, yeah, they're literally saying killing people now, right? So we're definitely in stochastic terrorism territory. So, yeah, you had something way worse and dark than I had. I had leak of polling data. That's where I was going. No, but yesterday we had like a fire too, right? So clearly this is, 1 can be an accident, 2 can be a coincidence,
3 is planned.
Yeah, and we're at way more than 3, right?
Oh yeah.
So yeah, this is who they are. No, what had happened is that Abacus Data had released some polling that was showing specifically with regards to what was called the reluctant UCPers. Well, they were having, there was a noticeable shift in their vote intentions. And according to Abacus Data, the current provincial vote intention shows that on April 23rd, it was tied at 36-36, and that from May 12th to 23rd polling period, the NDP is broken out to a 43-35 lead. That made people very happy. There was another polling company, I can't remember off the top of my head which one it was. It was a name I hadn't heard before, so it must be more local, that also showed the NDP in a slight lead. But then Janet Brown polling, which is revered out in Alberta, had some data, and I guess she released it first to some parties, and the data was leaked. Now, this is proprietary information, and it was leaked. And this is the second time in the campaign that this happens, and the second time in the campaign that it happens to be when data shows the UCP doing well, and the Janet Brown data shows the UCP doing very, very well, as opposed to the NDP. It shows the NDP, I think, getting only about like 34 seats in the legislature. Now, Janet Brown herself is saying that this poll of hers might be the 1 time out of 20. Right? Remember when they say this poll is accurate 19 times out of 20 with a margin of error? Right? So the 1 time out of, she's saying that she herself is saying, I think this one's an outlier. Now, her reporting period was longer because she started, I think she did this over maybe 2 weeks, and a good part of it was before Danielle Smith made that comment, equating 75% of Canadians to people who would just fall under the charms of a Nazi tyrant, and of all the ones she could pick, she suggested Hitler.
Yeah.
She looked up and then suggested Hitler.
Yeah.
Um,
It's a pattern with her. We've seen it before. Hey, Daniel, let's reach out to Dr. Lee Chapman and see if we can get her on the show. I don't know if you've seen that, Mr. Beaver.
My good friend is Chief Nursing Officer of Canada, Dr. Lee Chapman. She's a big voice federally on the opioid homeless issues. Yes, please. Yes, we have been wanting a guest.
Yes, we'd like to get her on the show.
Yes.
And I want a response to Kenty here. Kenty's watching on Twitch. Do you think all cons can be rehabilitated no matter the crime they commit? That's a deep philosophical question.
Not all of them can.
I think not everybody can be,
but you have to assume.
Yes.
You don't know which ones can and can't, so you have to try with everyone.
That's right. And I mean, there have been criminals, like some serial killers that were Robert Pickton as an example. That man is not rehabilitatable. But I don't believe in the death penalty. And I'll tell you why. That makes us worse than the criminal, I think. State execution. This is my personal opinion. I'm not, reflecting.
I would say the same thing because we're doing it calmly and rationally.
Yeah. And I think that's colder and harsher. Mm-hmm. Number one. Number two, and here's one for the cons. This is why the cons will start to come swing over to my side of the fence. And I've had conservatives swing to my side of the fence when I said, you do realize it costs more to execute an inmate than it does to incarcerate them until they die. And they go, what? Because they have unlimited appeal processes in this country. Mm-hmm. So if we had a death penalty, they can appeal it and appeal it and appeal it and appeal it. And guess who pays for that? We do. One appeal can cost up to $1 million. Mm-hmm. It's $75,000 a year to keep them incarcerated. Mm-hmm. So do the math. Mm-hmm. One appeal up to $1 million is what it ends up costing the taxpayer because we pay for the whole enchilada. Mm-hmm. So when you explain it to a conservative like that, mm-hmm. they usually go, oh, hang on a second here. I don't believe in the death penalty. Yeah, because it's money. Mm-hmm. So there's a way to bring people over to the right side of the fence, which is on the left side of the center. But you know what I'm saying. Look, an eye for an eye makes the whole world blind. And if you're going to judge, if you're going to rule your life based on a set of rules written a few thousand years ago at a time when, you could sell your daughter to slavery if she committed what you saw as a sin, or you should, beat your wife because she did something you disagree. And that was perfectly in the book of Leviticus for those super Christians who always pull out the Old Testament. Christianity is based on the New Testament. Do they not see a confusion here? No, they don't, because it suits whatever narrative they're trying to paint. And it's all about painting in a very narrow lane exactly what they want you to think.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Indeed.
You're right about this too, Pete.
You're right on there.
Our brother Pete here out in Australia.
Who has a cold.
He said, prisons don't work. They generate dependence, and some people now can't manage to become part of society again. So they reoffend just to go back to jail. And there's a lot of truth to that, as evidenced by the several decade studies in Scandinavia, where they actually have rehabilitative prisons, where they teach you a skill, where they give you classes on how to improve your life, improve your thought process, like all of those things. It's not like a Crime and Punishment where they send you to jail, make you make license plates or work for the state for free, which you do realize it's called the prison industrial complex for a reason in the United States. Not so much as here in Canada, but in the United States of America, it's called the prison industrial complex because it is slavery. It's the new form of slavery. They have you in there making stuff. They pay you $1 a day while you're incarcerated in not what you'd call good conditions. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, It's the prison industrial complex where they churn out millions of dollars for the private-run prisons. They're private for-profit prisons. That's when capitalism is run amok.
Yeah. So on that issue, we're kind of shifted over from Alberta to the federal thing, but I'll get back to something Alberta here. But that would be Bill C-48, which is Minister David Lametti was there at the announcement. Minister Bennett, who takes care of who's addictions and mental health, was there. There's two other ministers there. I can't remember off the top of my head who they were. But Bill C-48, sorry, pardon?
Sorry, Daniel's message. He just left a message with Dr. Lee.
Okay. Bill C-48 would make targeted changes to the criminal code's bail regime to address serious repeat violent offending with firearms, knives, bear spray, and other weapons. Specifically, Bill C-48 also proposes changes at the bail stage to address the enhanced risks posed by intimate partner violence. The proposed changes seek to improve the safety of people and communities across Canada. And these are for, I believe, Justice Minister Lametti said in his press conference that these would apply to people who have been charged of these offenses within 5 years. So if you reoffend within 5 years and you've committed some of these offenses and you're charged on some of those offenses as well, then this would apply, Bill C-48. So it's very, very, very specific circumstances.
Are you reading what Jillian has on the screen? Pay attention to it.
No, I haven't yet.
Sorry. I just posted it because Harper wanted to privatize prisons for profit. Yes. Stephen Harper's inmate treatment facilities. Take the first letter of each word. Brilliant, Jillian. Brilliant.
Jillian.
It's great. Oh, it's Alex's birthday today, Pete. Today is his birthday.
I love the kid. So the proposed changes were developed in close collaboration with all provinces and territories, including at a special meeting of the Federal Provincial Territorial Meeting of Ministers responsible for justice and public safety on March 10th. The proposed changes are also informed by engagement with other partners and stakeholders, including law enforcement, community organizations, and Indigenous partners. These changes respond directly to calls for reform from provincial premiers and the policing community. Then it goes on to government fluff. That was announced yesterday, so we'll see what that will do. It seems to be pretty well received overall. We'll see what happens with that. Back in Alberta, Mr. Grizzly, the Twitter account that you should be following, at Disordered YYC, sending lots of videos. And again, always a video. This one was from another day, actually, that you actually sent to me, Mr. Grizzly, via chat. But we didn't include it because, I had forgotten that it was in the chat, not on the main feed when I was looking for it. But I found it, and when you were talking about Danielle and healthcare in particular, this one, you might want to get a blanket for the chill that's going to go up and down your spine, kiddies.
Okie dokie.
All right.
I think I know which. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. All right.
Go ahead.
Here we go.
Do you think? Okay, so here's the thing. I can see all of the services that are not currently under the legislation and not currently offered in other provinces. So call it Canada Health Act compliant services. I can see or exempt Canada Health Act exempt services. I can see those very easily being ones you can adopt. You get into difficulty when you start talking about doctor services and hospital services. And I don't know if you can bridge that gap without then having the federal government come in and pull back on your transfer payments, because that's always been the big hammer that they have. It's one of the things I find so frustrating. Your brilliant idea here runs up against barriers, because then the federal government can come along and say, "So, all right, well, we're clawing back $4 or $5 or $6 billion."
And this is why I'm calling on Pierre Poilievre and others to say we need to end the Canada Health Act. We need to say, let the provinces decide. Let's give the provinces the GST. Let's give the provinces tax points on the income tax. to pay for their own services, and let equalization, that's another topic, fix equalization and let it deal with filling in the fiscal limitations that certain provinces have versus others. Let the provinces be the provinces and do their jurisdictional duties and get the federal government out of it.
Okay.
So is it just me, or does she look like Tucker Carlson there?
Yep.
Okay. Yep. Let's disseminate the amount of bullshit in that one, because first off, they keep talking about equalization payments. That's the first thing I'm going for, and then I'll let you handle the rest. Equalization payments aren't a thing.
Nope.
They haven't been for a long time. That was changed under Stephen Harper. Pierre Poilievre, or Poilievre, whichever he wants to be on whichever side of the country he's in right now, was part of the team, along with who wrote the rules? Former Premier of Alberta, Jason Kenney. Not equalization. All the money goes into a big pot and then gets doled out to the province equally as required.
Equalization is not provincial.
No.
Period. It's completely irrelevant to the healthcare debate. The only way that equalization fits into the healthcare debate is that at some point the federal government distributes money to certain provinces to make sure that they can maintain a similar level of care across the country, because we are one country. And if you can't get similar care in one part than another, then what's the point of being a country? Your citizenship is not equal wherever you live in the country. So that's the whole point of equalization. And equalization is money that the federal government, after the federal government receives all its taxes and balances out everything with the provinces, it's money it takes aside and says, you know what? We are not going to keep that for ourselves. We are going to give this back to the provinces, and based on the formula of need and based on taxation room, and Alberta does not
have provincial taxes.
So it's got tons of fiscal capacity for taxation. It just chooses not to use it. Money is distributed. That's equalization. Okay. Has nothing to do with this. That's why we have to eliminate the Canada Health Act and let the provinces be the provinces. Has everybody in this conversation here forgotten that one of the reasons we are in the mess that we are in is because by letting the provinces be the provinces, they've taken federal money and then put it just into general coffers and chosen not to spend it on health?
Yeah. So when Doug was asking for more money for healthcare last year from the Prime Minister, he said, no problem, I'll give it to you. But there are strings attached and it has to be spent on healthcare. Well, no, just give us the money. No, Douglas, that's not how it works, Douglas. You're going to get the money and you're going to spend it on this department. And if you don't, you're in shit, pal.
Right. And then, so our premiers, with the money they already have, are already not spending it on healthcare. If we just let the provinces be the provinces and get the federal. What in their behavior to date leads us to believe that now they're going to spend the money that they were getting from the federal government, choosing not to spend on healthcare? He says, give them more tax points. You were giving tax points in the 70s, which you do not recognize every time you come to the table. You didn't use those tax points on healthcare.
Well, and let's not forget how many billions in COVID healthcare dollars went out to the provinces, 10 billion, I think, in Ontario and 4 billion in Alberta in COVID money. And oh, it's 4 billion in Ontario. Sorry. Thank you, Linda.
Well, the 4 billion unaccounted for. Well, sorry, it is accounted because the books are balancing. They just don't know what that particular 4 billion was spent on, or where, or when.
Wasn't COVID.
Or how.
Wasn't COVID precautions. Wasn't COVID medication. Wasn't PPE. They don't know where the money went. How does 10 billion go missing? Please explain to me how 10 billion goes missing.
And how is it that when 10 billion goes missing,
or 4 billion, sorry, it was 4 billion. I have 10 in my head.
Well, yes. how is it that when 4 billion goes missing on this, and then another 2 billion go missing on that, and then the previous government of your stripe had 4 billion missing here and 2 billion missing? How is it that then when this keeps on happening, government after government, when you happen to be conservative, how do you keep on having that moniker of being the party that's best for the economy and manages money best? And
no. Here's what they do. I'm gonna let you in on a little
it's
secret.
it never, if you actually sit down and do like the data just does not show that. So how do they maintain that reputation? It's like the NDP is going to spear us into the poorhouse, and with the conservatives, you will be prosperous and everything will go well. And then it's like, well, they add more to the debt than anybody else, and we get less value for money.
But there is truth that things will be better off under the conservatives if you're rich and white. That's it. That's it.
Oh, and there's the people writing the articles. Sorry, of course.
That's it, man.
The Nigel Hannafords.
I mean, come on. Look, how many... Look, I'll give you, for instance, of how crooked the current Ontario government is. So they started to, under Wynne, they allowed the sale of beer and wine in grocery stores, correct? It was under Kathleen Wynne. So all the grocery stores in my neighborhood started to be able to sell beer, with the exception of one, because it's too close to the nearest beer store. I'm like, oh, okay. And it's an independent. Now, up the street was a Sobeys, which is owned by Empire. And they had a great selection of beer, but then they closed the store and reopened it as a Farm Boy. It was a smaller selection of beer, but they still have beer. They have a separate wine store at the front of the store. So the liquor store that used to be at the World Exchange Plaza is relocated over to Place Belle, which is a few meters from the Farm Boy. So I'm in the Farm Boy one day, and I'm like, "Where'd the beer cooler go? What's?" They said, "Yeah, we had to take it out." Why did you have to take it out? Well, because the liquor store's too close. I'm like, what? That doesn't make any sense. You were here before the liquor store. The liquor store moved into your neighborhood. You shouldn't have to take this out. Well, that's the Ford government. Okay, curious. Because down the street, at the end of my street, the south end of my street, is a Loblaws. And in that Loblaws, they sell beer and wine. And in that same building, on the other side of the wall, is a liquor store that sells beer and wine. Now, why is it they can occupy the same space and one can sell beer and wine, but one who's a couple of blocks away, who'd been selling beer and wine for a couple of years, and then the liquor store moved closer, made them stop selling beer and wine under the Ford. So Sobeys, which is owned by Empire, which is from the East Coast, versus Galen Weston's Loblaws. What? I'm just asking questions. Why is it one company can't, the other company can? Shouldn't the rules apply the same across the board for everyone? Is there a little bit of favoritism there for one company over another? Just asking questions.
Just asking questions. And when we're talking about just asking questions, there was a little passage in that video, Mr. Grizzly, that
she does her just asking questions face.
No, that just goes by and doesn't really get touched upon more. But if you're paying attention,
dog whistle.
No, not just take a listen. If you put it back up there, watch.
And I don't know if you can bridge that gap without then having the federal government come in and pull back on your transfer payments, because that's always been the big hammer that they have. It's one of the things I find so frustrating.
See how her face contorted? It's one of those things I find so frustrating.
And I love the whole thing, the whole statement.
That the federal government, if you do not want to follow the Health Act, will come and remove your transfers.
Well, healthcare spending accounts. You get a healthcare account with a credit card that you can, and so I break a leg and then I develop prostate cancer. All of a sudden, my healthcare spending account has been zapped, and the rest of it comes out of my own pocket over my dead body. And could very well happen. I didn't know that No Frills sold beer. Interesting. Phelan Beston. Yeah, that's right. The corruption in the Ontario progressive Conservative government under Doug Ford is beyond reproach. Oh, yeah, that's a good photo. That side-by-side comparison there.
Why don't you?
Just roll it back there.
Yeah. Hold on. I'll set this up here.
Okay, because that's really good.
Uh,
You'll see in a second, folks. We
There we go.
promise to share it.
There you go. Simmer Kayande. Prominent members of previous Conservative governments going back to Lougheed's era have deep misgivings about Daniel Smith. They are voting NDP because we deserve better.
Interesting. Oh, my God.
One reason.
Y'all seen the film Misery?
Tell me you don't see it.
That's really scary.
Danny Wilkes Smith. And
I see it.
I see it. Tell me you don't see it. Tell me.
Reichsreich.
I'm your number one fan. If one day she breaks out and says cockadoodie or dirty birdie in a speech, head for the hills.
Yeah. You dirty birdie.
Run to the fire. Run into the fire.
Yes.
Run towards the fire. Holy. Tell me you don't see it.
I do see it.
Man, oh man, oh man, oh man, oh man. How much time do we have, Mr. Grizzly? Are we near the end? We're wrapping up? All right. Okay. One little thing I'm going to ask Mr. Grizzly to put in the chat here. It's a link to something happy. Remember when I told you I went to see Herb Alpert in concert, and he was doing these videos. One of these things that he did a version of Putting on the Ritz. But they did a dance video to go with it, a music video to go with it. And remember the video back in the day? I think it was the Pleasure Principle, Janet Jackson, and it looked like it was all done in one take. Now they,
very carefully edited.
I mean, there were camera things, but it looked like it was just one camera pan. This is one camera pan,
single shot,
with no cuts. Go through like this. They did it many times to get one right. Yeah. It is really cool. People changed clothes and the whole thing and changed rooms. It's really brilliant, and it's Putting on the Ritz, and it's a very happy, peppy version of it, modern. That'll bring a big smile on your face, and I dare you not to dance.
I just
posted
a link in the chat, separate link. This is a Twitter from Luc Lebrun, who is behind a conspiratorial far-right group training an army of election fraud scrutineers to dispute votes and sow doubts about Alberta's election. Benita Pedersen, the main organizer and host of these scrutineer training sessions.
Yes, the scrutineer training sessions. That's the other one.
She's part of the Take Back. She's a top Take Back Alberta organizer. The election was stolen. You know that's going to come out if NDP wins.
Yep. Just saying. Tell me you don't see it. Danny with the sledgehammer. All right, kids. My God, there was so much other stuff I had, and it just,
it happens.
The conversation goes how it goes, right? But there's just so much news.
It's ridiculous.
So much news. It's ridiculous how much news there is at the moment. So if I'm not touching on anything, kids, and you want to hear about it, do let us know, because, like I said, just way too much news.
Well,
not enough time.
And you're right about this, Saucy. Elections Canada may want a word. Yeah, because Elections Canada is very, as we've stated, I don't know how many times, one of the best run systems on earth when it comes to honesty and integrity in the vote. So these scrutineers, how much you want to bet they're going to be sitting around hanging outside of polling stations? Did you? Who did you vote for? Did you vote for let me see your ballot. No.
Well, I think it's more than that. I think it's like the actual scrutineers at the polling station, because every party's allowed to have and vote verifiers and whatnot and all that kind of stuff. And I think it's going to be, like they were doing in Turkey, like challenge every vote, and and they're even like putting the strategy saying, like this, there's a shortage of scrutineers. So if you can't be a scrutineer for the UCP, then go be a scrutineer for another party. So, go be a scrutineer for the NDP. And it's like, I challenged this vote. Well, I guess, yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't sound
This
good
is
to me
not.
the way they're going about it. It's all
Yeah.
bad.
Yeah. Kit Pitt, I see. Kit Pete, I see. Yes, I can reach out to you after the show. I will. Absolutely. So, Kits, that's the end of this episode of the Daily Beaver podcast. We hope you love listening to us because we love making this for you. Remember that sharing is caring and word of mouth is priceless. So let your peeps know about us because democracy is something that you do. If you're in Alberta, if they're looking for scrutineers, maybe you at home
Mm-hmm.
listening to this are the perfect person to be a scrutineer.
If you're in
Nature abhors a
Alberta.
vacuum. Nature abhors a vacuum. If you see this going on, pick up a phone and say, I'll scrutineer.
Mm-hmm.
This would be a good thing when you're saying, like, can I do something? This is something you can do. Just something you can do right now. So, yeah. Please. If you like this podcast, you can find us on the Crier Media Network as well as all Beaver Grizzly friendly platforms. Stars and reviews are appreciated. We love to hear from you, so reach us on our Facebook at True North Eager Beaver, our Twitter feed at True Eager, or our email, truenortheagerbeaver@gmail.com. And if you subscribe to our pod page, that's podpage.com/the True North Eager Beaver with a hyphen between each one of those words. When we have something fresh off the bandwidth, it will be in your inbox. And then you can listen to us or download it to your podcast feed or whatever it is, however it is that you receive us. Why not also subscribe to our True North Eager Beaver Media Incorporated YouTube channel? Yes, and Kit Elaine says, have a beyond awesome day, everyone, and remember to smash the button before you leave. So do that. And subscribe while you're at it. And if you happen to be listening to us on another platform other than YouTube, if you can help us out by just strolling over to YouTube when you next have the opportunity and subscribing, even if you don't watch us, that will help us. Thank you very much. We can't do this without your kind and generous support. So if you feel that we've done a particularly good show, scan the QR code that Mr. Grizzly will make appear like magic on the screen. Boom. There you go. And if you are listening, you go to Coffee. Now, interesting spelling, ko-fi, coffee.com/eagerbeaver.
I always read it as Ko-Fi.
Go to Ko-Fi. And that's where you can make your donation to help keep us hydrated. Yes. Well, from the Beaver Lodge, this is your Eager Beaver saying, until next time, dear kids, it can be a tough world out there. So be kind to and gentle with yourself. And kids, before I say that, if you keep on noticing that I keep on hesitating, that's the part in the script where it tells me to speak about merchants. So it always, it's like, I need to scroll down. So that's what's happening.
I gotta find some time to put that together, and we'll see. I don't have a life. All I do is work.
I haven't had a life since March 24th. I have actually had to do some mea culpa for places where I volunteer and says, I'm sorry, I dropped the ball. I've
had to reschedule appointments for health appointments. Like I just haven't had the time. I've rescheduled stuff.
Yeah.
So
yeah, but I've actually had to tell people I'm overwhelmed. And one of the places where I volunteer actually said, you know what, I might actually need a little help here because I've got too much on my plate. Yeah. So ask for help. Beaver Lodge saying, as I said, be kind to and gentle with yourself. I asked for help. Mr. Grizzly, do you have some words of wisdom for us before we go?
You just said it. Ask for help when you need it. It's something I have struggled with my entire life, is asking for help for anything. Anything. I've always struggled with asking for help because, I was taught to be independent and self-reliant and I have a difficult time asking for help for absolutely anything, even something as little as, would you pass me that thing off the table there? I just do it myself because I'm used to that. And I'm learning to ask for help, and it's not easy for me because a lifetime of doing things a certain way and having to change it when you realize it's okay, you can do that, it's healthy to do that. That's a strange realization in my mid 50s. It's like you say, Jillian, it's a hard thing to do, to come to the conclusion that I need help and I have to ask for it. I've done it, and it's been beneficial to me. I mean, look, I'm on medication. I'm here. I'm still here. I'm still alive. I'm still able to do this every day because I asked for help. but it was difficult. It felt like a Herculean Sisyphean task, but I did it, and I don't regret it. So you're right, Tim. There you go. Now, that's sort of the mentality I grew up with. My parents never ever taught that, right? They always taught me to ask for help, but societally speaking, it was man up, put some dirt, rub some dirt on it, you'll be okay. So asking for help for even the littlest things is difficult for me. So do your best to ask for help when you need it, and it's any type of help. And you start with baby steps and work from there. So there you go.
Yeah. All right, Mr. Grizzly, roll them credits, please.
I will, sir. Right about.
You are listening to a True North Eager Beaver media podcast. The True North Eager Beaver podcasts are proudly brought to you by our founding sponsors, the Miss V Mysteries from Corvid Moon Publishing, your source for science fiction, fantasy, and cozy mysteries featuring a broad diversity of characters. CanadianTarot.com, your uniquely Canadian online eclectic tarot community and forum, and The Peppermaster, hot pepper sauces made from fresh farm ingredients to thrill your taste buds and expand your mind.
Just wishing happy birthday to my sweetie.
Okay, you got me. I didn't see that one coming. Have a great day, everybody. Thanks for watching. We really do love and appreciate each and every one of you. Take care.
Absolutely.